Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Harvey, author of the Conspiracy series. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about writing a book, especially for you beginners. So how I picture you. You are sitting down at your desk for the first time, you're like, okay, I'm super motivated, I'm going to write this book. And then you sit down, you open your Google Doc, and you're about to start writing, and you realize you have no idea what you're doing. So you go to YouTube and you search on how to write a book for beginners. And then hopefully my video is coming up and then you clicked on it. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute, so let's just get into the video. Yeah. Before you actually start writing this book, I want to ask you one very important question. Why do you want to write a book? Well, if your answer was fancy release parties, book signings, fancy houses, and a bunch of money, well then you should not write a book. Because that is not what happens when you become an author. In fact, most of what being an author looks like is this. So if you said you want to be an author because you want to reach people with your ideas and influence the way people think, then yes, I do recommend you should be an author, but there's a lot more that happens when you become an author than just I write a book, which yes, over here, if you publish a book, you are an author. But writing a book is very complicated, so let's talk about that now. So let's start with the obvious one. You need an idea if you're writing a book. An idea can be a lot of things, and I have another video on that up here. So check that out if you get the chance. And that's going to make a whole lot more sense to you. But an idea can really be anything. Honestly, it could even be you trying to prove a point, which is what I'm doing with honestly, that's what I've done with all my books. It's kind of me trying to prove a point. And that's okay. That can be exactly how a book starts. That shouldn't be how a book ends, but that is exactly how a book can start. Next. This is going to seem kind of bizarre, but do not write in chronological order. Okay. So, I am not the only person who talks about this. My sophomore English teacher is also an author, and she says don't write in chronological order. Write as the ideas come to you. And, oh gosh, March of 2021, so when I was a freshman, we also had a Zoom call for this Epic Week thing, and I signed up for this class where you could talk to an actual author. So at the time I had only published one book, and I was very shaky. Honestly, I wasn't. I was focused on editing and publishing the lead because it would come out in 2 months. That's insane. But anyway, this author we met was Stephen Mac Jones. I really hope I'm pronouncing all of that right. But he wrote the August Snows books. I think they're books. And those are crime novels that take place in Detroit, which, as you guys know, I am from Michigan, so that's kind of our city. California has LA, DC has DC, Florida has Miami, Texas has Dallas or Houston. I think it's Dallas mostly. Illinois has Chicago. I think we get the picture. And this is also what I'm doing with my current book. The one I am currently writing. So, back up a sec. So, yesterday, I finished the rough draft of my 4th book, which is super exciting. No, it's not going to come out anytime soon. It's definitely going to be years, and I'm walking you through that in my series before the book. Check that out. But what I was doing while I was writing was, if I had an idea, I was going to go to the very end of the Google Doc I was writing on, and I would type out the idea. It could be just like a sentence like main character does it, or it could be like an entire chunk of the actual book that I would end up copy pasting up into the rest of the book. Now, sometimes you're not going to be near your computer. Sometimes you're going to be out in the world with other people and children with sticky hands and adults who want to ask you how school's going and people you've never met before who suddenly want to have a conversation because you happen to be shopping in the same store. But if this does occur and you do have an idea, personally, I always carry some paper and a pencil with me so I can jot down any ideas as they come. So I'm not bound to that. I can only write on my computer. And do not say, oh, I'll remember this great idea. Guess what? In 10 minutes, you would have forgotten it. Then when you go back to sit down, you're like, oh my gosh, I had that. Shoot, what was that great idea? Write it down. Write it down. Even if you don't actually look at the paper, the act of physically writing something down helps you remember it more. So always write stuff down. And again, you do not have to be with your computer this entire time. I don't expect you to be lugging your computer around everywhere. Bring just like a small notepad, a few pieces of paper, and a pen, and then write it down. Then you can put it on your computer when you get home. Speaking of computer, let's talk about equipment. You don't need anything fancy to be an author. Really, all you need is a computer and a pen and paper if you were listening to the last suggestion. Literally all my books I have written have been on Google Docs. All my books are also on this hard drive. So if they disappear from Google Docs, if I lose my computer, if my drive gets wiped, if I delete my email, all of these things, if any of that happens, I still have my books on this drive. I also have a thumb drive around here somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure where I took it. You know, maybe it was stolen by a secret organization because I know too much and they were trying to make sure that I didn't expose them to the rest of the world. And now they know about my hard drive and my computer. Read my books and you'll understand. Oh my gosh. You don't need any fancy like writing softwares. Like, I know you see ads for Grammarly everywhere. When my channel finally gets monetized, odds are there's going to be a Grammarly ad on this channel. I do not use Grammarly. I probably should because I can't spell to save my life. But you don't need Grammarly. You don't need all these other things. Now, if you want Grammarly, that's fine. If you want the fancy writing stuff, that's fine. But you do not actually need it. I do not use that. And with KDP, it's free. You get 70% royalties on ebook, 60% royalties on paperback. Yeah, it's... Oh, we aren't talking about KDP. Love KDP. But that's not what we're talking about. Now, the one thing that I'd say you definitely need to pay for is an editor. Now, this does not have to be a $1,000 a minute editor. No, like, if you know someone who majored in English, this could be them. But you definitely need to invest in an editor because you don't want to publish something without having an editor. And quite frankly, I wish I had gotten another editor because there are definitely some mistakes in my books. But don't worry, I have a secret surprise coming up for them in the next 8 years. Now, if you're unsure if you should actually write a book and you're just kind of sitting there like, should I even write this? Is this dumb? First of all, it is not dumb to have a dream. Why is my name tag like that? There we go. Now we can... Now you can look at a red panda instead of white. What was I saying? If you're unsure if you should even write your idea, run it by a bestie. I did this with the Jameses back when we were friends, video in one of the corners. I did that with Charlotte with the new book, and today I saw my bestie Joey, and oh my gosh, we didn't even get through the entire book, but I basically told her the entire story, and I think she's still very confused, but that's okay. Run it by a bestie, and if they're actually a bestie, they will tell you that's not your best idea. Just no. But the majority of the time, they're going to say, yeah, just write it. And again, what I'm saying, just write it, which leads us into our final tip. Stop watching videos like this one and start writing. Even if you don't publish, you do not have to publish everything you write. Trust me, I have written a lot and I have not even published anything close to it. In fact, there's a short story that Charlotte is begging me to publish, but I refused to put it on my website until May because it has something to do with the lead, and that's when it was published. But you do not have to publish everything you write. If you write an entire book and you edit it and all that, and then you're still like, you know what, I don't want to publish this, that is okay. You did not waste your life writing this book. You don't have to publish it. And maybe in 20 years you'll look back and be like, you know what, I do want to publish this. Maybe you'll never want to publish it. And it's okay. You got that writing experience, and that is super, super, super important. So stop watching videos like these and start writing. Get your computer and go. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe down below. It really does help me out. Make sure to buy my 3 books, The Conspiracy of the Lead and The Killers. Those are linked in the description, as well as my website, and I will see you next Saturday with another video. Bye.